Easy tigers. I hope everyone's fine and dandy. I hope everyone's all good in the hood. First things first, I just want to big up the Patreons, the people that are showing me love. I feel blessed that people enjoy my work, and feel free to share it. I'm not one to give copyright strikes or anything like that. I'm one for truth, so push everything out, get everything out there. Even share it to bigger channels so they can share it if they're interested. It's a network, let's get this stuff going. Anyway, so give us a like, a subscribe, and like I said, share this around, get the algorithm going, all that jazz. Right, so I want to look at melted bricks and vitrified stones today. That's what we're going to be looking at. So vitrified stone and melted brick, what's the difference? So let's start off in Scotland, shall we? Because this is where I found a lot of vitrified fortifications. And another thing I noticed is heavily condensed around a major ley line in Scotland. Scottish ley line. So there was a major ley line, which is this, which runs along that canal that pretty much runs through the whole of Scotland. So you can see dotted around there, you can see all the fortifications. So vitrified forts. Vitrified forts are stone enclosures whose walls have been subject to vitrification through heat. It was long thought that these structures were unique to Scotland, but they have since been identified in several other parts of Western and Northern Europe. So it's interesting that it's just scattered in that part of the realm, like condensed. I mean, it's all over the world, but it's condensed in certain parts. So vitrified forts are generally situated on hills offering strong defensive positions. Their form seems to have been determined by the contour of the flat summits which they enclose. The walls vary in size. A few bring upwards of 12 feet high and are so broad that they present the appearance of embankments. Weak parts of the defence are strengthened by double or triple walls, and occasionally vast lines of ramparts composed of large blocks of unhewn and unvitrified stones envelop the vitrified centre at some distance from it. The walls themselves are termed vitrified ramparts. No lime or cement has been found in any of these structures, all of them presenting the peculiarity of being more or less consolidated by the fusion of the rocks of which they were built. This fusion, which has been caused by the application of intense heat, is not equally complete to the various faults, or even in the walls of the same fault. In some cases, the stones are only partially melted and calcined, and in others, the adjoining edges are fused so that they are firmly cemented together. In many instances, pieces of rock that enveloped in a glassy enamel-like coating which binds them into a uniform whole, and at times, though rarely, the entire length of the whole wall presents one solid mass of vitrified substance. So basically what they're saying is, this is not done as a tactic to strengthen fortified walls, you know, by blasting with heat to make it stronger. They're saying that the walls, some bits are melted, some bits are not. So they're saying something come down and melted this place, but not evenly, like it's done in parts. It's not clear how or why the walls were subject to vitrification. Some antiquarians have argued that it was done to strengthen the wall, but the heating actually weakens the structure. Battle damage is also unlikely to be the cause, as the walls were thought to have been subject to carefully maintained fires to make sure they were hot enough for vitrification to take place. The experts' consensus explains vitrified faults as the product of deliberate destruction, either following the capture of a site by an enemy force or by the occupants at the end of its active life as an act of ritual closure. The process has no chronological significance and is found during both Iron Age and early medieval faults in Scotland. So this is the list of vitrified faults. I think this is just exclusive to Scotland, this list here. But it tells you here, if you can pause and have a look, they're all over the show. They're everywhere. They are absolutely everywhere. So let's have a look. So this is vitrified stone. You can see how it's fused in. and this one is in France. And again, vitrified. Now I think it turns glassy. Like, I'm no expert in this, by the way. I'm no expert in anything. I'm just a guy that does a bit of research and brings it to you guys. But I think this goes this glassy look because of the sand content inside of it. And then I think the clay bricks, they droop. So sand bricks sort of turn into like a glassy sort of texture, and clay bricks, they go droopy. So what caused it? Was it Greek fire? Who knows? Let's have a look. So vitrified faults are fascinating. Vitrified faults are a fascinating but relatively unknown phenomenon. These often ancient stone fortifications were at some point subject to temperature hot enough to vitrify, turn into glass in brackets, parts of the structure. In many cases, the vitrified material acts as a sort of mortar, binding together dry stones into a single mass. Below is an image of what it looks like up close. And you can see this has just been completely cooked out and melted. Absolutely melted. Here is some sites, and we'll go through these now individually. I'm not interested in A, B or C, but D. Right, this is the Broborg Vitrified Hill site, and this is located in Sweden. And the top one's giving you an aerial view, and then it's giving you a map of the vitrified walls. But if you go to G, it will show you excavation trench with arrow showing vitrified portion. And if you go to H, multiple fused rocks. And it shows you that I could only have been done with 1,000 degrees Celsius above 1,000 degrees Celsius. And again, K, charcoal or wood impressions in dark glass, 2 to 4 centimeters on the side, hottest part of a melted granitoid from the wall interior. So what would cause this intense heat? I really would like to know these answers. What would cause it? Was it part of a reset? I don't know. But this is an impression of what we are told a hill fault looks like. And this is what a hill fault looks like. To me, they don't seem like faults. It seems to me like they were burning grounds. But who knows? Who knows? It seems like they've done a reset, they've put everything in a pile, and they've made a wall around it and burnt everything in the middle of it. That's what it seems like to me. But it's only my opinion, don't shoot me down. Do not shoot me down. See what I mean? How is this a fault? Tell me, how could this have been a fault? It seems like there's probably all sorts of stuff underneath these mountains or these hills. But you can see it's vitrified. So something's melted from above. Which is very, very strange. Look at these don't seem like they could be fortifications. There you go, you can see the top layer is melted and started to vitrify. See, there's a massive difference between melted and vitrification, and I'm going to show you in a minute, because a lot of people are saying everything's melted building, like cliffs are melted block, bricks, cliffs are melted red brick buildings and things like that. It can't be. It's impossible. Impossible. Again, I'm just showing you more vitrified fortifications. So this is a tour, this one here. See, this is a trip they take you up in Scotland, just to take you on a little journey to find out what burned these fortifications. So that's very interesting. I'd love to go on this little trip, but there's something to do in the summer because Scotland it's cold up in Scotland. But look, anyway, again, another one. All these hill faults that are being melted. Don't worry, I'm not just going to be talking about melted hill faults. I'm going to be going on to melted red brick. But the hill faults are vitrified, by the way. And it does get a bit complicated because there's so many different types of bricks, you know. You've got bricks that consist of clay, bricks that consist of sand, bricks that consist of both. So you're going to get all sorts of results. But here we go. These are all vitrified sites that have been subject to intense heating. And another thing, actually, while I was over Hadley Castle, I noticed a lot of stuff had been melted, but I didn't think nothing of it. And the new ruins were built, the new castle, or the prop had been built on the melted parts, but that's another subject. That's another subject for another day. So, vitrified hill forts, surveying the damage. Let's have a look. So let's go to France, and you can see now where the glass was in the red bricks, or the blue bricks, because it's vitrified. Ancient city found in India. Atomic blast. They're saying there's an atomic blast. Let's have a look. Ancient city found in India. Irradiated from atomic blast. Radiation still so intense the area is highly dangerous. A heavy layer of radioactive ash in Rajasthan, India, covers a 3 square mile area 10 miles away from Jodhpur. Scientists are investigating a site where a housing development was being built. Why would you build a housing development on a radioactive site? For some time it has been established that there is a very high rate of birth defects and cancer in the area under construction. The levels of radiation there have registered so high on investigators' gauges that Indian governments have now cordoned off the region. Scientists have unearthed an ancient city where evidence shows an atomic blast dating back thousands of years, 8 to 12,000 years, destroyed most of the buildings and probably 500,000 people. One researcher estimates that the nuclear bomb used was about the size of one dropped in Japan in 1945. So that's a bit of a game changer, right? There was an atomic blast. Well, there's evidence of an atomic blast. That's a bit of a game changer to me. Part of me thinks this civilization worked out what was going on, so they pressed the reset button. That's what it feels like. But it's very strange that you're getting this, you know, you're getting melted bricks and blocks and stones scattered throughout the world, but condensed in certain areas. India and Scotland are 2 condensed areas I've come across so far. Another curious sign of an ancient nuclear war in India is a giant crater near Bombay. A nearly circular 2,154 metre diameter lunar crater located 400 metres northeast of Bombay and aged at least less than 50,000 years old. Could be related to a nuclear warfare of antiquity. So there's no trace of any meteoritic material has been found on the site or in the vicinity. And it's the world's only known impact crater in basalt. And the indications of the Great Shock show intense but abrupt heat. So what caused this, eh? What actually caused this to happen? I'd love to know. I've got a few ideas, but we'll share them in a bit. Fire bricks are burned in a kiln, which makes them durable. Modern fired clay bricks are formed in one of 3 processes: soft mud, dry press, or extruded. Depending on the country, either the extruded or soft mud methods is the most common, since they are the most economical. Normally bricks contain the following ingredients: silica, which is sand, 50 to 60% by weight; alumina, which is clay, 20 to 30% by weight; lime, 2 to 5% by weight; iron oxide, and magnesia. So they all make up a brick. So that makes sense why you get some bricks drooping. That would be the clay, and that's why you get some melted bricks that look like they have glass inside them. So now we know that melted bricks droop because of clay, or they vitrify because of the glass or the silica content. Now this picture in the background, we don't see nothing like that going on here at all. I mean, I haven't been there with my own eyes and seen it and smelt it and touched it, but I know looking at it, nothing's melted there, nothing's droopy, and it's not vitrified. Now this is what you call a melted red brick wall. Nothing like you see on the last picture. And bearing in mind, them straight lines on the last picture indicates each course of brick. That's what people are saying. Mate, them blocks must be so tall. Again, melted brick, but this one seems to be vitrifying. And again, that must be due to the silica content. It should be higher than the clay. Melted at the top, vitrifying. And again, melting again. So it seems like it bubbles up a little bit and it starts to droop in the weight. The weight of the bubbles. That's what's going on. And then it seems like a layer peels off as well. So this is another fault that was vitrified. See, this one here has a fire inside because obviously it's melted inside. But you can see it start to melt at the top, hottest part of the fire. And this is very interesting here. This is in Russia, right? This is a melted fortification that caught on fire by accident, I think a few years ago. Now, if you look here, there is straight lines because the clay bricks drooped down. They didn't droop down the wall, creating uneven lines. They literally hung vertical and dropped down. That's why you still have the straight lines in that part there. Do you get me? So, this was set on fire. Who've done this, eh? Who set this on fire on purpose? But you can see, as it starts going down the wall on the left-hand side, the lines disappear because the melted brick starts to roll down the wall instead of falling directly to the floor. Like they do at the top of the arch. Like this. Here you can see the arch at the very top. And all the brick is drooping. It's creating like popsicles, icicles. Popsicles, icicles. It's creating these little cones that are just drooping down. Clay cones. So it's very, very interesting stuff. And again, this is another image from a different angle. So due to the higher clay content on these bricks, they decided to droop, not vitrify. Very interesting place. Very, very interesting place, this one. But you can see melted on the walls. You can see, as I went back there, you might want to take it back a bit. Here we go. Dropping at the top. And as it goes down the walls, it falls down the walls. Let's have another look. So bricks again. This is what happens to vitrified bricks. This is ones with a higher sand content. So you get the glassy look effect, which is quite interesting because when I was in Portland a few weeks ago, I come across a load of stones, and this is actually a vitrified stone. But my point is, I'm going to show you some stuff that I found in Portland, and I thought it was flint attached to the blocks or the stones, but it isn't. I'm looking at it now and it seems vitrified stone. That's what it is. Right, so now you can see that it's drooping. Now this is in Portland. Now it seems to me like the face of this block got melted. I was wrong saying, well, I don't know if I'm wrong or right, but I originally said this was some sort of rendering to a deer, but now looking at it, it looks like it's been melted. Let me know what you think on that. And again, I said this was flint on top of these blocks. But what if it's vitrified? What if this block has vitrified? Due to intense heat. Because apparently the history of Portland goes back to 12,000 years. Apparently. So what caused all this? Was it fires from above? A cataclysmic event? A comet? What was it? Or was it us doing it? Was it us going around? Blowing up other sites and melting them with Greek fire? What was it? Let me know in the comments what you think it was. Or was it the ley line that overheated Earth is a circuit board and blew up that ley line in Scotland. Let me know what you think. Anyway, let's have a Brucey bonus. So before I go into the Brucey bonus, I just want to big up a couple of channels that have kept me very occupied for the last few weeks. I want to big up Bushwhacking History in Buffalo. Mate, the last video, or a couple of videos ago you done with that burning flame, like Eternal Flame, was incredible, mate. Like, that really set a bar for videos, and I love it when people go out and get the boots on the ground and actually go and look at stuff. I love it. So, mate, go and check this geezer out. Does incredible videos, and he's stepped his game up massively as well. So, not saying that you hadn't before. I'm just saying that for me personally, what I prefer, you've touched my buttons, mate. I love it. So yeah, go over and give him a little support, subscribe, and all that lot. And Dodge the Hijack. Dodge the Hijack. She has been keeping me entertained for months and months. But I forgot to. You know, I get so wrapped up in doing my own videos, I forget to big up other people. But another person who is bang on the money, you need to go and check her out, Dodge the Hijack. She does wicked videos on what's really going on and real history. So go and check her out and give her some support and love as well. Right, I've been saying this now for a few months. Polygonal walls, they were done in some sort of sacks or bags. The bags deteriorated, biodegraded. Then I see this on Instagram. It makes so much sense. So much sense. That's how everything fits in perfect together, right? Right, I digress. Anyway, I want to talk about water. Shushtar Historical Hydraulic System. Right, so basically I just want to get into this. This is karst limestone irrigation and hydraulic system. So parts of the irrigation system are said to originally date from the time of the Darius the Great, an Achaemenian king of Iran. It partly consists of a pair of primary diversion canals, which we see actually in Portland last week. You know, the two primary canals that I pointed out, in the Quran River, one of which is still in use today. It delivers water to the Shushtar city via a route of supplying tunnels. The area includes Salasel Castle, which is the axis of the operation of the hydraulic system. So it must be the pump house of it, I guess. It also consists of a tower for water level measurements, along with bridges, dams and mills. So this thing's thousands and thousands of years old, and it's done in limestone. So I've been saying it for, again, months now. Limestone is all liquid limestone karst, and it incorporates hydraulic systems, irrigation systems, water systems, you know, waste systems. All that is incorporated into the karst. And we're left with crumbs and ruins, and we're told that these are natural caves and gullies and things like that, but it's all man-made and very ancient. And this is one proof of it still working and still in place. So, Salasel Castle is a World Heritage Site, a part of Shushtar Historical Hydraulic System, located on the island city of Shushtar. So this castle was the brains of the whole operation. You know, it was the brains, it was the pump house of it. So let's have a little look. Let's have a look at the block work and walk one down here then, eh? So first thing I notice is that the cast looks extremely, well, the limestone looks like it's been cast heavily. And you can see block work above it. Vernacular block work, looks like it's made out of, well, it must be sand because it's in the desert, Iran. And don't forget this place, Iran, what's going on there now? This place has been bombarded from day one. They've been mashing this place up forever. But look at the block work underneath the cast limestone. Can you see it? You can almost see the limestone drooping down over the blocks then. Again, look at it. This will be full of tunnels, irrigation tunnels, what we call caves, but I'm telling you, they were houses. They just look like caves because they've been gunned out. All the decorations been taken off and they've been gunned out, and they just look, should we say, natural, but it ain't. But again, you can see it looks like block work on the left hand side. Maybe what they done in the wars over this gaff is probably sprayed some sort of sulphur over here to like deteriorate the cast. But look at all the exits. Look at all these exits through this cast. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted 5 exits or 5 terminals there. So inside these limestone would be 5 routes. Where's that water coming from? That's what I'd like to know. Where is that water coming from? And how does it manage to go underneath the basin and then pop out from the basin? I'll show you what I mean. Just looking at some old block work. Look at that. It's like it's been sprayed with something and melted the limestone. Mate, I'd love to go here, and I'd love to. I'd be in and out of these tunnels. I'd have a little boat. But look at the terminals. Look at the angles on this cast. See, that basin never fills up as well because it's part of a system. So then it all falls into here. This must be like the overflow system. But where does all this water come from? Because it doesn't just... Look at this one. This is on the other side now. Look at that. Just channeled water. Fresh water. And another thing, I was doing some research. I had to go to the Bible because I wanted to know where is this water coming from? Because I heard in a video a couple of weeks back that God made water come from the rocks. And it's funny that water comes from mountains. I don't know, I'll have to look more into this. But look, more terminals. More terminals. Look at the gushing water. Where is it coming from? Where would that come from? Why don't it run out? Why has this been running now for nearly 2,000-3,000 years? Full speed. Look at the angles. It's all been cut on purpose. Limestone, poured, then cut. And again here, this reminded me very bad of Malta. Cast. You've got irrigation systems cut into the cast. Just like Malta. Except for Malta covered up theirs with blocks. But here you can see terminals. And these pictures must have been in the winter, because that's one thing I noticed in Malta. That the water cleaned itself. In the amber months, September, October, November, December, the water was cleaning itself. And then from January onwards, it was pristine water. So it's like a cycle, a natural cycle. So this is what this must be doing. I guarantee you this is winter here, and it's cleaning itself out. Can you see the difference? Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. And then the water's taken away to another part of the system. Look at that. Look at these little entrances. Right, talking of moulded and cast, this is something that I found very interesting. A way to supply water from mountains. And look at the size of it. All you've got to do is get them seals watertight, and you're in. Very interesting stuff. But again, you just need one mould, and you can keep making it, and without messing up. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, we've gone through a few things. We've gone through vitrified and melted. And it's the glass or the clay or the silica or the clay that determines that. So like, subscribe, comment, share. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please support me if you can. One love, everyone. Ta-da. Ta-da.